can sustainably accelerate innovation and discovery with a view to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Greece strongly believes that the UN treaties on outer space and the relevant UN General Assembly sets of principles constitute the cornerstone of international space law. In this context, COPUOS and its subcommittees are the main fora for the development of international space law, guidelines, confidence-building measures, and international cooperation. As to international cooperation, we believe that it should by all means prevail over any use of force in space, and we welcome in this regard the adoption by the UN General Assembly of Resolution 79/87 of 2024 on international cooperation and the peaceful uses of outer space, which, among others, expresses its serious concern about the possibility of an armed race in outer space and reaffirms the significance of international cooperation for a space free from an arms race and conflict for the benefit of all. Mr. Chairman, COPUOS, through its two subcommittees, has proven its ability to deliver on its mandate. We welcome in this regard the progress made so far within the Working Group on the Long-Term Sustainability of Outer Space Activities, as well as within the Legal Subcommittee's Working Group on the legal aspects of space resource activities, and encourage them to advance their discussions. In this context, we would like to stress that Greece believes that the legal aspects of space resource exploration and exploitation must be regulated by international law. Past legal experience in this respect includes the administration of the international seabed by the International Seabed Authority established by the UNCLOS, the frequency spectrum management regime of the ITU, and the legal regime governing Antarctica. This long-established, solid international legal practice, adopted within the UN system, part of which is also COPUOS, can serve as an inspirational tool and guide in developing a legal framework for space resource activities. Mr. Chairman, allow me at this stage to give you a brief insight into my country's recent endeavors in the space sector. The Greek space law, which establishes the legal framework for the authorization of space activities, has been revised in 2024 in order to provide for a third-party liability amount requested by the satellite operators as a mandatory condition. Through this legislative approach, a more flexible regime based on a proportionate TPL amount, depending on the characteristics of the mission, has been initiated, thus encouraging the growth of the small satellite sector. My country is also steadily proceeding with the implementation, in collaboration with ESA, of its national microsatellite program that includes the construction and launch of 13 satellites of various types, covering identified national needs such as natural disaster monitoring, security, and environmental protection. The upcoming fleet of Greek satellites consists of 7 microsatellites with optical payload and capabilities of very high resolution imaging. 4 dedicated thermal microsatellites with sensors that monitor thermal emissions and can detect fire fronts under thick smoke or during the night, and 2 high-resolution synthetic aperture radar microsatellites that can observe the ground and sea surface under thick clouds and dark. Mr. Chairman, in concluding, let me assure you that Greece will continue to intensively work for the promotion and deepening of international cooperation in the space domain and the conduct of space activities in accordance with international law as required by Article 3 of the Outer Space Treaty. I thank you.
Je remercie la distinguée.
I thank the distinguished representative of Greece, and I now invite the distinguished delegate of Paraguay to take the floor.
Señor Presidente.
Chair, thank you very much for giving me the floor. A longer version of Paraguay's statement will be made available for distinguished delegates. Chair, Paraguay has focused a fundamental part of its work on developing capabilities in the education and technology sectors and sustainable development in close collaboration with academic institutions, the private sector and governmental departments. We welcome the agenda of the Commission for this period of sessions, in particular the debates around education and youth participation, capacity building, equal access and the benefits of space and the sustainability of space activities, including space traffic. we'd like to reiterate our strong commitment to the use of outer space for exclusively peaceful purposes, and we would like to highlight the importance of international cooperation as a central axis for national capacity building. Chair, with the goal of bringing space science to new generations, the Laboratory of Space Engineering has promoted initiatives such as launching global probes, which have allowed students to actively participate in all stages of a mission, from its design to its implementation. In the same spirit, the Geographical Information System, GeoLab, has created training programs in teledetection and geospatial analysis aimed at secondary school students. These initiatives aim to strengthen, from a very early age, students' interest in science and space technology, supporting the development of national capabilities. Regarding capacity building, we would like to share some of Paraguay's recent advances made in terms of space development. Firstly, building on the legacy of Guarani Sat-1 in the framework of the project Paraguay to Space Phase 2, the second Paraguayan satellite, Guarani Sat-2, designed and built by our own national engineers, is currently in its testing phase. Its key mission will be to provide services to the radio community, as well as transmissions that will help to continue to build capabilities in space technology. Also, the Paraguay Space Agency, through its Earth Observation Laboratory, GNSS and GeoLab, has created a strategy focused on innovation in the use of geospatial data for developing sustainable agriculture and managing disaster risk. In this context, and along with the Japan International Cooperation Agency and ArcEdge Space, we are now looking at an app which will use space technology for more efficient decision making based on evidence that will help small farmers. We are also carrying out capacity building programs with Japan on the use of space data for agriculture, managing disasters and environmental monitoring, as well as developing satellites, including the engineering model for Guarani Sat-2. We also use satellite technology for environmental policy and for security. Geospatial activity has been used, on the one hand, to detect and eradicate illegal plantations of marijuana in protected areas, allowing us to eliminate hundreds of hectares in border areas, and on the other hand, to strengthen monitoring of forestry coverage, such as was reflected in the report of our President Santiago Peña in COP28. So, in Paraguay, we have a sustained reduction in deforestation, 44% forest coverage. Regarding monitoring water resources, we have made significant advances using remote sensors and using national data platform, as well as the active participation of satellite academies such as the SWAT mission. A key landmark was in March, the launching of the Water Information System, the first national digital platform which will help us look at access to water and sanitation. This also included information from various institutes, promoting interoperability of data in easy-to-read language, ensuring our national participation in regional fora as well, such as South American water space, which help us to mitigate risk, share methodology, and mitigate the risks of climate change. Chair, to conclude, Paraguay would like to reiterate its firm support to continue working in a coordinated way with the international community to ensure that the benefits of space effectively reach all sectors of society and contribute to improving quality of life. Paraguay would also like to note the guidelines on the long-term sustainability of outer space activities and say that we value their use as a point of reference for better transparency, security, and international cooperation in this field. At the same time, we recognise that, given the exponential growth of objects in orbit and actors involved in space activities, it is a real priority that we strengthen multilateral mechanisms for technical coordination and transparency, in particular regarding space traffic and long-term sustainability, through the creation of a group of experts on knowledge of the space situation. My delegation would also like to reiterate the relevance that we attribute to the work and proposals aiming to mitigate the consequences of the proliferation of satellites in preserving dark and quiet skies for astronomical investigation. Thank you very much, Chair.
Je remercie le distingué délégué.
I thank the distinguished representative of Paraguay for that statement, and I now give the floor to the distinguished delegate of Costa Rica.
Señor presidente, quisiera expresarle la
Chair, I would like to express my country's delight at seeing you presiding over the work of this period of sessions. At the same time, we would like to thank the UNUSA Secretariat staff and Director Halamaini for preparatory work done for this meeting. Chair, defending institutionality and global governance is a long-standing principle for Costa Rica. UNUSA is no exception to this principle. We were one of the first countries to warn that this office was not receiving the required financial support or political profile within the system, in spite of the fact that it carried out its role in an excellent manner, complying with its mandate. For Costa Rica, it is contradictory to demand a more efficient committee if its secretariat is being massively reduced. It's also a contradiction to demand more cooperation programs if the office does not have capability to implement the associated activities. Also, through GRULAC and the G77, we have sent the same message. Allow me to be completely clear. Strengthening this office is in the interest of all, but in particular interest for countries in development, because we depend a lot on multilateralism, and through this we can speed up capacity building and strengthening through a more robust office. Costa Rica would like to reiterate that we will continue to advocate for these efforts, and we would call on other members of the committee to do so as well in Vienna during sessions of the committee and subcommittees. And we would like to invite those member states that share these concerns to take these two debates in New York, where we will discuss the budget. Chair, we would urge UNUSA to continue managing and strengthening the new Fund for Space Cooperation for Development through coordinated action across the whole UN system and with external partners, including governments, non-governmental organizations, and private sector actors, guaranteeing space solutions that are inclusive, impactful, and forward-looking. Costa Rica will continue seeking to carry out a second expert mission in the country in the field of space law, which will strengthen our regulatory and institutional framework in the field of space. The space calendar in 2026 for Costa Rica will begin with the International Symposium on Equatorial Aeronomy, which will be held in Liberia in Guanacaste province between the 9th to the 13th of February, bringing together researchers in atmospheric sciences, the ionosphere and the magnetosphere. A week later, we will begin our workshop on machine learning as applied to space weather and global satellite navigation systems. From the 16th to the 20th of February in San Jose, organized jointly with the Center for Space Research in the University of Costa Rica and the ICG. We would invite member states to participate, and we will be sharing the results in the next cycle of sessions of the Scientific Subcommittee in 2026. Chair, we would like to call upon the whole space community to maintain a high level of ambition looking forward to Unispace 4, where we will promote discussions under the principle of goodwill without politicization, which can disrupt our debate and decision making. Thank you.
Je remercie la distinguée déléguée.
I thank the distinguished delegate of Costa Rica for that statement, and I now give the floor to the distinguished delegate of Mexico.
Muchas gracias, Presidente.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, distinguished delegates, Mexico would like to express our recognition for Director General of USA, Arti Halamaini, and all of the Secretariat team for the successful organisation of this period of session, in spite of the financial challenges that the office is facing. Mexico aligns itself with a statement made by the distinguished delegation of Peru on behalf of GRULAC, as well as the statement made by the Republic of Korea on behalf of states that make up MICTA. In addition, Mexico would like to express the following in our national capacity. Mexico would like to underscore the crucial importance of preserving the use, exploration and use of outer space, the moon and other celestial bodies for exclusively peaceful purposes to benefit the whole of humanity. Guaranteeing compliance with these two goals means that member states of this committee commit to continue working in a constructive manner to develop space governance and to ensure the irrestricted observance of international law that is applicable in the field, highlighting the principles that stem from the 5 treaties that regulate space activities. Mexico is a state party to these five treaties, and we believe that the growing participation of states in these instruments is vital to strengthen the governance of outer space and to ensure that activities that are carried out in outer space are done in a responsible, sustainable, and secure way. Along the same lines, Mexico believes that it is in the best interests of all states to strengthen this committee and UNOSA as its secretariat. Last April, the Agency for Digital Transformation and Telecommunications presented Mexico's space program, which seeks to place a new satellite in orbit to cover the needs of the Mexican population in order to increase by 20 times our satellite capabilities to ensure connectivity in the furthest flung areas that are hardest to access in our country through public infrastructure. All of this will be done with an aim of bringing the benefits of space technology to the whole population, closing the digital divide and ensuring that more people throughout the country have their right to connectivity. Among the essential roles of this committee, it includes guaranteeing the benefits of outer space, both in areas outside of national jurisdiction, to ensure that this can be reached by all, regardless of their level of development or technology development in each state. This is why my country has joined the initiative launched under the framework of this committee relating to the fair distribution of the benefits of the activities of outer space activities, aiming to strengthen international cooperation and ensuring that the distribution of space exploration and technology benefit all of humanity. Finally, Chair, Mexico would be in favour of holding Unispace 4 because we believe that this space offers a strategic framework for shedding a light on the crucial importance of the work of this committee and its subcommittees, as well as to make progress in pending tasks, ensuring that outer space is safe, sustainable and benefits all. Thank you very much, Chair.
Je remercie la distinguée délégée du Mexique.
I thank the distinguished delegate of Mexico for her statement, and now I invite the distinguished delegate of Indonesia to take the floor.
Mr. Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, allow me to join others in congratulating you as the chair of the 68th session of COPUOS. Rest assured of our delegation's full support for successful outcome of this deliberation under your able leadership. We thank the Director Arti Hulamaini and her secretariat team for the excellent preparation of this meeting, despite some situational constraints that we are facing. The Indonesian delegation associates itself with the statement of G77 in China and the general statement of MICTA. In addition, I would like to add a few remarks in our national capacity. Chair, the government of the Republic of Indonesia would like to once again to emphasize our view that based on international law, outer space shall be used and explored entirely for peaceful purposes and for the benefit of humankind. Indonesia welcomes Latvia and Djibouti as the new members of COPUOS. We urge more countries to join our forum for strengthening our multilateral works to guarantee peaceful uses of outer space, the future of humankind. My delegation hopes the director of UNOSA could establish more programs to accelerate the universality membership of COPUOS. At the same time, my delegation acknowledges the challenges of our budgetary deficit. We hope the UNCOPUOS will be able to find creative ways to maintain capacity building program without sacrificing the quality of capacity building services. Mr. Chair, allow me to extend our appreciation to the director for the summary report of COPUOS work and the chair opening remarks. My delegation is pleased to see the progress of the work of STSC's and LSC's subcommittee. The long list of terms agenda, the agenda in STSC, LSC, and other committee sessions shows that our commitment to multilateralism in outer space issues keeps growing. The complexity of the issues also demonstrates there are many issues that we need to negotiate. We hope our deliberation will come up with solutions for all pending issues and strengthen our cooperation and normative setting process. Considering the issue as space traffic management or STM, space debris and space resources, we are of the view that this committee should make a specific but concise report to the General Assembly of how the committee has implemented the mandate given by the Pact of the Future to negotiate possible legal frameworks on STM, space debris, and space resources. My delegation reserves its right to provide further comments on individual related agenda items in this session. However, Mr. Chair, allow me also to share some information regarding recent development in Indonesian space activities. Indonesia is continuing the process of formulating and implementing regulation of Law Number 21, year 2013 on outer space and establishing a comprehensive national space governance framework. A comprehensive review of the national roadmap on space program is currently also being conducted. Indonesia continues to actively participate in international and regional capacity building program, including the Sentinel Asia Initiative for Disaster Management, which provide funding assistance for activities co-organized by the Sentinel Asia and BRIN, and a training workshop co-organized with UNESCAP on the issue of space application for sustainable development, focusing on disaster management tools. At the regional level, Indonesia is active in the ASEAN Subcommittee on Space Technology and Application of SCOSA and its subsidiary bodies. Indonesia will host the 15th annual meeting of the Southeast Asia Astronomy Network in Bandung, Indonesia, from 13 until 15 October 2025. Furthermore, we would like to inform that Indonesia is hosting the United Nations Indonesia Workshop on the application of Global Navigation Satellite System, or GNSS, held in Jakarta, Indonesia, from 17 until 21 November 2025. Further information has been announced on the website of COPUOS. I thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Je remercie le distingué.
Thank the distinguished representative of Indonesia for his statement. Distinguished delegates, I've received a request for a right of reply from the distinguished delegation of Iran. I would therefore ask the distinguished delegate of Iran to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in the afternoon meeting of the last Friday, 27th of June, 2025, one delegation took the floor and repeated some misleading statements against my country. As I am attaching great importance to the work of this committee, and in order for the committee to be able to focus on its main tasks, I would suffice myself only to underline that the same explanations that they provided during the previous statements and exercise our right of reply also applies in the case of these recent unfounded accusations. Thank you very much.
Je remercie le distingué.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran for his statement. Distinguished delegates, as agreed at the opening of this session, if we still have time with interpretation at the end of the morning, after we consider all scheduled agenda items, we will resume agenda item 4, general exchange of views, to have the statements delivered by the observers. Distinguished delegates, I would now like to continue and hopefully suspend our consideration of agenda item 13, future role and method of work of the committee, pending the outcome of consultations on matters concerning Unispace 4 and ATLAC. The first speaker on my list is the distinguished representative of Germany. Of Argentina, sorry. Argentina, I give the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, delegates, representatives. This year, we have a reduced plenary session with fewer official working days. We hope that this is an exceptional event and will not set a precedent for the future because it affects the role and work of a forum that has been created, particularly to tackle matters relating to the peaceful use of vital space from a legal and technical scientific point of view. We should also not limit the opportunity for all states to present progress made and interact regarding space governance in a collaborative way in the framework of international cooperation, as well as strengthening links with non-governmental actors. As we've already said at other times, COPUOS, both its plenary and subcommittee, play a fundamental role given the ever-increasing amount of activity in outer space through an increased number of actors, both in the public sector and private sector, to ensure that these benefits reach the populations of all of our countries. Greater dependency on space technology prompted new countries to request joining, which we've seen in this session, and this is something obviously that we celebrate. However, this goes hand in hand with the need to continue thinking about ways of increasing the effectiveness and efficiency of our work. Reducing statement time to 3 minutes could be applied also to the subcommittees with the option of including a longer version on the website. It's also essential that we maintain the Secretariat's commitment and that of all member states to ensure the availability of sufficient resources, given the ever-increasing workload of COPUOS' subcommittees and working groups. Regarding items on the agendas, my delegation is always open to reviewing and regrouping these. However, we believe that we mustn't only include new topics if we've finished dealing with another one, because this could be a very restrictive measure that might be applied to topics that do require urgent attention. Chair, we see an increase in informal sessions where we discuss the centrality of topics outside of official sessions. While this informal hybrid session is an alternative option and a dynamic way of working that facilitates support from capitals, their increase during the period of sessions in Vienna in any way has undermined the role of this multilateral forum, affecting full participation of all delegations and the principle of multilingualism. This is why we believe we need to look at alternatives for ensuring that we have more inclusive participation. On the other hand, there are an increasing number of activities. The unofficial working groups overlap with side events, and this, but it's important that we have the contribution of knowledge and capacity generation. We need planning for all of the available hours of work along with parallel activities, but this needs to be rational, ensuring that we don't have so many meetings that we can't have adequate participation from all countries, in particular those with small delegations. To close, Chair, we are pleased that we have made progress in the work of ATLAC, and we hope that we will continue to make advances and provide contributions in my delegations, as well as on other matters under this agenda item. Thank you.
Je remercie l'autre.
I thank the distinguished representative of Argentina for the statement. The next speaker on my list is the distinguished representative of Germany. Thank you very much, Chair.
Chair, distinguished delegates, the impact of the liquidity crisis on the work of UNOSA and COPUOS is evident in the shortened meeting time for the current session. We very much regret this situation and thank the Secretariat and all member states for their constructive spirit in enabling important deliberation and decisions to be made at the present session despite these circumstances. COPUOS should nonetheless continue to be the unique forum for the exchange of experts on cooperation in space for peaceful purposes. Under this agenda item, we would like to highlight the following. First, we welcome the adoption of a full report at LSC. This provides an opportunity to reflect different perspectives as expressed during the formal sessions prior to the adoption of the report. As we have seen at the SGSC, the adoption of an action-oriented report shall only take place under exceptional circumstances. Secondly, we're encouraged to continue inviting contributions from experts and observer organizations on the latest developments closely related to specific agenda items for further consideration by member states in various working formats, such as working groups, action teams, study groups, technical presentations, and side events. Finally, we thank the ATLA co-chairs, Mrs. Botezatu and Mr. Abbas, for organizing cross-committee meetings and coordination with the working group chairs of both subcommittees, as well as the co-facilitators of the Unispace 4 deliberations, Italy and Morocco, for convening cross-committee meetings to collect views on all thematic pillars discussed at COPUOS and its subcommittees. We consider this cross-committee coordination as an important means to support our work. On Unispace 4, we consider that the revised text facilitates the conference linkage to tangible outcomes while avoiding duplication of existing efforts, instead highlighting the important work of the committee. We recognize the valuable contributions of existing work streams to the conference and look forward to reaching a consensus at this COPUOS session on the establishment of the study group on legal and policy aspects of space traffic and an expert group on space situational awareness with a view to contributing its work to Unispace 4. Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, we are committed to strengthening international cooperation, taking into account the interests of developing countries and emerging spacefaring nations. At the UN level, we continue to support UNOSA's core programs, including UN SPIDER, which are vital in making the benefits of space accessible to all. Additional measures are provided at national and regional levels, and we are ready to engage in dialogue with other members on this matter to analyze how international cooperation can be further expanded to bring the benefits of space to everyone, with a view to discussing this topic further for the 2026 COPUOS session and as another tangible outcome of Unispace 4. Finally, we look forward to working with member states and UNOSA to make sure that COPUOS and its subcommittees continue their strong track record of delivering impactful results. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Je remercie.
I thank the distinguished representative of Germany for the statement. Distinguished delegates, I would now like to give the floor to the co-chair of the action team on lunar activities consultation, Ms. Ulpia Elena Botezatu of Romania, who has led the action team to present the work plan of the action team to the committee. Madam, you have the floor.
For giving me the floor, Chair. Chair, distinguished delegates, we, as the co-chairs of the action team on lunar activities consultation of the committee, appreciate the opportunity to report back to the plenary of this committee on the peaceful uses of outer space regarding the discussions of the action team held since the 67th session of the committee. As agreed at its 67th session, the Secretariat had invited contributions from states members of the committee on the Bureau and work plan of the action team. During the intersessional period, by means of a sizes procedure, the committee established the action team's bureau consisting of two co-chairs, Hassan Abbas of Pakistan and myself, Ulpia Elena Botezatu of Romania. The action team had commenced its work by holding meetings during the 62nd session of the Scientific and Technical Subcommittee to develop a work plan in accordance with its mandate and methods of work, as reflected in the committee's report in document A/79/20, Annex 4, paragraphs 1 and 11. The action team worked hard by meeting during the 64th session of the Legal Subcommittee and the 68th session of the committee, as well as during the intersessional periods. We had intense, in-depth deliberation